All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's class. Uh, Today we'll be talking on the topic UX problem solving. UX problem solving. So we have to understand, as a product designer, you need to understand the problem you are trying to solve and then how to actually solve this problem. So let's look at what we'll be learning today. Um, Today, we will learn what is UX problem solving, solving UX problem using workflow. Also, what is problem statement, when and how to write a problem statement, then formatting problem statements and practical examples of problem statements. So we'll be doing two in one: problem solving and also problem statement. Okay, so what is UX problem? This is a question of today class. What is UX problem? So let's check. We said here that UX problem is any obstacle that prevents the user from completing their goals easily or efficiently and satisfactorily. So we can say it's anything that stops users from easily, effectively, and happily reaching their goals. So there is a reason why a user wants to use a particular product. So if a user can't achieve that purpose while using that product, then it's a UX problem. So have you ever used an app and felt frustrated? And then what made it frustrating? So UX problems are everywhere. So you try, please confirm you can still hear me. All right. So you try to open an app and trying to do something simple, and then you end up frustrated. Clicking on anywhere, and then you are showing puzzles, there are buttons everywhere, but the buttons are not leading you to actually achieving your goals. So that particular feeling is a UX problem. All right. So what is UX problem solving? So we can say that our job as UX designers, is like being a doctor for digital experiences. So what we do is we diagnose, we find the root cause, and then we prescribe solutions. So we can say that UX problem solving is about removing those barriers so users can just do what they came for. It's about removing those barriers. So let's look at the UX solving framework. So we are going to break it down as it is your favorite cooking recipe. So step number one is to identify the problem. You can't fix what you don't know. So your first step to problem solving is actually identifying what the problem is. So how do we actually know, or how do we identify these problems? So we can identify the problems through user complaints and feedbacks. So this can be through reviews, app stores, Twitter rants, etc. And it can also be from customer support tickets. People can literally tell you where they are stuck. So it can be from analytics, it can be from usability tests, and it can also be from surveys and interview. So if your team are working on a project, first of all, you need to ask why. and where will users get stuck on while trying to achieve their said goals. So your step 2 should be define the problem clearly. After you might have identified what the problem is, define the problem. So a well-defined problem is half solved. The questions you should ask is who is affected and what tasks are they failing at, where in the flow, and why might this be happening. And we have a problem statement formula here. So users, that's the who, are experiencing, you now put the problem, when they are what were they trying to do when they experience this problem, and why are they experiencing this problem, because you now put the reason. So always ask yourself who is affected, what can't they do, where are they stuck, and why might this be happening. So let's look at an example. We say a new user is, remember we said who, so it's a new user fails to complete onboarding. So that's the problem. The problem is that it fails to complete onboarding. Now, because the tutorial is hidden in the profile menu. Why? The tutorial is hidden in the profile menu. So your problem statement should always have the who, the problem, the task, and also the reason. So your step 3 should be analyze the root cause. So when analyzing, go beyond symptoms, find the real cause. Don't just assume, dig deeper. And what methods can we use for this? We have the 5 whys techniques. Keep asking why, like a child, like you're asking your father, why should we do this, why should we do that? Keep asking why. Then another method we can use is user journey mapping. So walk through the entire process, and we have what we call heuristic evaluation. Apply UX best practices. And example of it could be, why do users abandon checkout? And well, you can see because the payment page is confusing. And why is this payment page confusing? Because we have too many unclear options. And why are these unclear options there? And why are they unclear? Because we have poor labeling and lack of explanations. So this is why we need to also learn, as product designers, we also learn copywriting. Now, your 4th step should be iterate possible solutions. Don't stop at the first idea. Don't marry your first idea. Continue to think the process through, continue to think the problem, and brainstorm on the problem, and then get more ideas on how to solve the said problem. So how do you iterate? First of all, if you're working with a team, brainstorm with your team. So your team could be product designers, could be product managers, could be developers, could be supports, or anybody you are working with. Then your second way is use design thinking exercise. We know the design thinking exercise, where you iterate, research, and the rest of it. Now analyze competitors. What are the competitors doing better? Where are they failing at? And the last way to actually iterate is get cross-functional input. Now, example solutions can be, let's simplify the payment options. With that, users will actually use it more. Or let's add more tool tips. Or let's tell users, if you go here, this is what you can do. If you press here, this is what will happen, and the rest. And then reward on clear labels. Your copywriting should be better. Users should not be confused when they see a copyright. You can't tell users, click here to learn more, Whereas when they click on it, it's taking them to a login or authentication page. So your copywriting should be clear. Now, what is the fifth step of this process? So we have prototype and test. You need to test your solution early and also test them more often. Don't just wait after like you've had the idea, then you go through the design process. Test your solution early so that you can actually see where faults are early and then resolve them. So we have types of prototypes. The types of prototype can be paper sketch, low fidelity wireframes, and high fidelity wireframes, or interactive mockups. Then we have methods of testing. So we can test using usability testing, modding and moderated and unmoderated. We have A and B testing. That's when you compare two options. And then we have user interviews, and then you have analytics. This is after you might have released the products or the prototypes. All right, we move to the next step, which is our step number 6. Implement and monitor. No solution is perfect, so watch and also refine. Even after you might have shipped out the product, well, good job, but stay alert. Monitor the metrics, collect new feedbacks, and also plan for continuous improvement cycle. Because you are done with the design doesn't mean you are done. UX is never really done. Even after release, the real world throws curveballs. You can see new devices, new user behaviors, and so lot. So when after implementation and after pushing the product, still monitor to see what is happening. Now we are going to look at another subheading, what I title Solving UX Problem Using a Workflow. So this is going to be more practical. So using a workflow. So the first question is, what is UX workflow? What is this user experience workflow? So let's start with this simple idea. A UX workflow is like a Google map for your product. It's like a Google map for your product. So Google Map, what does Google Map does? It shows you direction and how to actually reach your destination too. So we say that a UX workflow is a step-by-step representation of how users interact with a product or system to achieve specific goals. So it is a step-by-step representation. You put it, oh, users, when they come here, this is what they do. They do that and they do this. And from there, you now see you have a step-by-step representation. And with that, if there are any challenges you face on the way, it will be easily resolved because you can actually look at it and then also know where the problem is. So what types of information does UX workflow give? So we have entry points, we have decision nodes, that is entry points, how users get in, decision choices they make, then actions, what they do, and exit, how they complete tasks or how they abandon them. So remember when I said that UX flow is like a Google map for your product. So it shows where users start and what turn they made and what streets do they go in or what streets do they exit at and where they reach their destination and where they sometimes get lost or crashes. Well, that is how I can explain this. So as a designer, you need to ask yourself these questions: how the overall system works and what screens should be designed and why. So we can say that without UX workflow, you are basically building a city with no roadmap. You can't navigate a city without roadmaps. So that's how your design is going to be without workflow. It is building a city without roadmap. So why we now have the goals of workflow. So we say here that every workflow should have two key components. We have scenario and then we have workflow structure. So this workflow structure, we have logical sequence of steps, primary action for each steps, description of each steps, name for each steps, connection between each steps, error states, pros and cons. So because users don't care about our screens, they actually care about getting what they want done. So as I said earlier, a workflow is going to help users move through the system. So when we are designing, we think of the right screens, right order, right interactions, and fewer frustrations. Now let's take the first one. We say the first one is scenario. So let's take it. Start with a scenario. When we say something is a scenario, we're talking about the story. So your number one should be a story. So let's imagine that you are a movie director. So before you shoot, what are the things you need? So we can say components of a scenario is or to create an effective scenario. So these are the elements that are needed. You need context, you need action, and you need goals. So when we are talking about context, we are talking about who is your user, where are they, and what is happening. Provide background information about the users. So don't just jump into it. So the action should be, what steps are they trying to take? What steps, what tasks are they performing? And your goal should be, what is their desired outcome? So identify what the user is trying to achieve. So let's take it to be your North Star. We know what North Star does, it leads. So take it to be as your North Star. So let's look at a UX scenario example. So let's say that Chinedu is a 24-year-old university student in Lagos. Then is interested in improving his design skills, and he just discovered an online platform offering free and paid UI UX courses. So you can see this is the content or the context here. And the action is that Chinedu will actually land on the home page, and then he will have to click on start learning button to sign up for his first course. And what is the goal of this? The goal of it is that he wants to quickly create an account, and he wants to explore available courses, and he wants to begin learning without too many barriers or delay. Remember that he said he was interested in improving his design skills, and which in the process he now took an action where he opened the browser, he now typed in the online platform he saw, like say KodeCamp, now type in KodeCamp on the home page, then he saw start learning button, and then he took on the process. So the second step is define and name your screens. So this is where you map out each step of the journey. This is where you iterate and come up with logical flow for the scenario defined. This is where you give relevant names to each screens. And this is, and also the name should match the screen's description and action. Most of us, when we design, we just allow it to be frame. So, but when designing, come up with, name your frames very well, give it a description, and then when you are naming home page, let the content be an home page. So let it be a home page, let it be a login. Don't write login and users are trying to sign up. So name should match the screen's descriptions and actions. Also, the name should be simple and easy to understand. So example of screen names should be can be login, sign up, homepage, etc. So we can have course list and course details and enrollment. So we can always have this. So give clear and simple names. This will keep your developers. It will also keep your project managers, designers of other designers to speak the same language. So you can't you don't use frames for your design. It is actually not going to help the flow. Your project managers and the developers, when they are trying to they'll have to call you and then be asking you severally, where is the screen that you want me to develop? So for us to actually truncate that, we actually have to name our screens well. So the third thing is add descriptions. Add descriptions. So define each screens with its contents right away. As soon as you identify a screen in your flow, immediately outline the key details, the elements and actions that should appear on that screen. If not, you will forget some certain things. And also add descriptions immediately for better flow. So writing the screen description alongside its definitions will ensure your workflow remains logical and clear. It will also help you visualize what the next screen should look like and also maintain consistency throughout the user journey. So for each screen, you should have info like what info does user see, what can they do, what happens after the act, and what happens after the act. That is what content or information will be shown on the screen, what the user can do with this screen, and what happens after the user interacts with the screen. And your description shouldn't have any visual or layout specific terms like header, footer, hero sections, checkbox, and the rest. And also it shouldn't your design patterns or UI elements should focus on functions and flow, not design. So these are things we should take note of. So don't get into colors, headers, or buttons yet. Just stay functional. Stay functional. So the next flow or the next step is provide connections. That is map out the connection. That's when we are talking about flow. This is when we refer to flow. This is show how users or user navigates from one screen to another in the flow. Clearly define the action the user perform to move to the next step. Always start the connection from the active button or primary action that triggers the transmission. So when we design on Figma, what we do is we design the flow, we design in flow. The first, okay, let's use authentication as the case study. In authentication, we will design when users open the screen, firstly, all the input fields are going to be at default state. Now, when a user actually clicks on it, or let's assume he hovers on it using a desktop screen, what happens? We have that flow. So as a designer, you need to state this for your developers. Then when a user might have feel, when does the primary button or when does the login button become active? Is it when let's assume we are getting the data we are getting from the users is email and also a password. So does the primary button become active when email is being filled, or does it become active when the boot is being filled? So these are things we all need to do. So this is actually going to help your developers too when they are on the board trying to make your design come to life. So now this is Sorry, who is that? Who wants to say something? I hope we can still hear me. Very well, loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. So we're talking about mapping the connections, the flow. So look at an example here. We have a user wants to purchase a course. So we have that you will enter the home page, he will search the product, he will now see the product details, and then he will purchase the course. So this is a booking scenario. So we can see two different design here. So who can tell me which one is correct? Which of the sketch here is actually correct? Please do well by lifting your hand. Then I'll call you to state which one is correct. Anybody? We have two design here. So which of the connection here is actually correct? Is it the first one or is it the second one? Anybody? Or I should call names? Okay, so I'll go with calling names then. Okay. All right, we have someone method. So which of them is correct? Yeah,
I
method you
think
can unmute.
the both are the same thing.
You think the both are the
I
same
think
thing?
the
Okay.
both.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other contradicting view? Who else has another option? All right, Vera.
Good afternoon. Okay.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, the same, but I think I'll go with the second one because with that one, the arm is actually touching something. That's my own opinion. But the first one is just floating. You don't know, like it's not really touching a frame. So, but the second one is touching. All of them are touching a frame. I don't know if you get my point. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Vera. Method, you can keep your hand down, or you want to say something else?
No, I'm good. I've already said my observation.
Okay, you can drop your down. All right. Zinab, I saw you wanted to say something. You have any other view?
Good evening. No, I don't have any other view. I am going with what Vera said. The arrows are touching the frame. So it means when you click on a particular frame, it will take you to the next action. Instead of
All
the
right,
first
thank
one
you.
that is okay.
All right, thank you. So let's go back. Let's go back to let's go back. So we were saying clearly define the action the user performs to move to the next step. So you have to define. If we look at here, where the first one is not showing me, or is not actually showing what users are doing. The arrow is just on the hair, hanging there. Well, it's moving from a point to a point. So, but when showing this flow, let it show that, oh, users are clicking from search, and that's where they can, after search, they now see search results. And after this, they now see the product details. After they click on the products, and after that, they can actually purchase this course. So going back, it says show how users navigate from one screen to another in a flow. So as earlier said, or as said by Vera and the rest, so method, the two is not the same thing. The second one is actually the correct way to map out your connections, the flow. It has to show us where is it starting from and where is it going to. So thank you very much to everyone that participated. So let's look at the number 5 steps. So identify potential error states. So bad things can actually happen. So plan for it. So don't think, oh, that the UX is good. For I think there was a time we were doing our capstone projects while I was learning. We were to demo our work tomorrow. And today, while having a meeting with the team, something extraordinary happened. Well, in a line of coding and the rest, it will always happen. Bad things are always meant to happen. The code crashed, like it was not working. We tried to load the website, it was not working. Nothing was coming up. On the authentication, even if it comes up, you will impute the registered account. Even the backend will call an account and like we'll say, okay, let's do our default. Normal is supposed to, it did not work. Nothing was working. So the same thing with design. Bad things are always going to happen. So plan for them. So how do we do this? Identify possible errors that can take place in the flow and call them out with descriptions. So you can call them, you can name them error 1, error 2, error 3, whatever you want to name it. That's up to you. So looking at this flow, where do you think an error can come up? Where do you think we can have an error in this flow? All right. I think who is talking? Who wants to talk? Please, before you talk, raise your hand so that there will be orderliness. Mohammed, I see you are unmuted. So since you're already unmuted, please go ahead.
Okay. Error can happen in search because it's a query. Most times error normally happens there.
Okay. All right. In search. Okay. So David, go ahead.
All right, so I feel error can also come up under the payment details.
Okay, under the payment details.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Zinab, go ahead.
Okay. Error can also occur when you're trying to select a course.
Okay, when you are trying to, I think I would have asked us to actually tell me how you think error can occur there. So let me start with you, Zinab. So how do you think an error can occur when you want to select a course?
Okay, you can have like 3 or 4 courses beside each other, and you mistakenly pick a different one apart from the one you wanted to pick. So you can make a mistake from there.
Even when the card is as big as our thumb or as our hand. All right. Well, it's possible. Error can also occur there. It's possible. All right. Vera.
Sorry. Yeah. So I think an error can occur when you are trying to log in because maybe you might enter an invalid detail. Okay. And also, I'm tempted to say the search, but I don't know if I should call whatever happens if the product you are searching for is not found. I don't know if I can call it an error, so maybe I'll leave that. But the second one is the payment details. So you might end up entering an invalid payment detail or invalid payment details. So that's what I think. Okay.
All right. Abigail, you raised your hand. I saw you dropped your hand again.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the login, but she has already mentioned it.
Okay. So we are all correct. We are all correct. So error can occur where we have the login. Where we also have the search. I think you said when selecting a course, well, that makes sense too. So we can also have an error there, and we will definitely have an error when it comes to payment details. So when you are making a flow, identify potential error states. So name it. You can say I use error 1, error 2, and error 3 to label those where errors are going to occur. All right, thank you very much. So now let's look at the step 6. We have pros and cons. So this, when you build your flow, step back and evaluate. Evaluate your UX flow. There are things you need to consider. User navigation clarity. Is the navigation from one screen to another smooth and intrusive? Are the actions required from the user clearly defined at each steps? And also, what that is on the strengths. So what works well in the flow? You need pros and cons. So you need what works well. Are there areas that enhance user experience or reduces friction? So you need to look at the weakness or gaps, that is the cons. Are there usability issues, bottlenecks, or unclear transitions? Could any step confuse or frustrate the user? And we also look at the flow efficiency. Is this the most efficient and user-friendly path for completing the scenario? Can any steps be simplified or removed without losing functionality? So when designing, these are things you need to look at. So look at use familiar user flows. Users understand it. So users understand you need to open WhatsApp, select a chat you want, and then select a contact you want to chat with, and then start chatting. Users understand that if I want to send a media, I'll just have to click on the chat, open, there will be maybe an attachment icon, or whatever, a heart icon, whatever the designer decides to use. Then when I click on that, well, that is going to take me to the functionality of adding media or sending media to whatever I want to do. And make the steps few. Don't go through, users, if I want to send media, I'll have to click on the attachment. After clicking on it, I'll now have to now choose from different folders first. After choosing from different folders, I'll now have to type the name of the stuff, the media I want, things like that. Make it, well, it's not user friendly. So make the step fewer, so and then it will give a faster onboarding. So also on the cons, as we said, maybe some users want more info before signing up. They actually want to learn more about your app. They want to learn more about your product. And also, a con could be, what if they actually abandon midway? Do we have a functionality to save wherever they stop to continue again later? So these are things you should look at. So this is where you start to see opportunities for iteration. So this is where you start to see opportunity for iteration. So let's look at our cons and pros examples. So goal number 1, we say here, design a seamless experience for users to share photos, to share videos, or documents during a chat. So this is our flow. So on the chat, there's an existing chat. So a user click on the existing chat. So on the existing chat, user can see text inputs and attachment icon. So then on the attachment, I want to send an attachment. So we can now see user can select from the modal when it appears, can select camera, gallery, documents, and whatever location they want to use. And they can select the media. So they can select the media. Let's assume they took gallery as the media type. So they can select single or multiple items. And they can also preview screens with caption, inputs, optional tags, and probably emojis, depending. And they can now proceed to send the media. Now, remember, this example, we are looking at our pros and cons of this particular flow that we have come up with. So who can tell me a pro or a cons in this particular flow? Let's look at it together. Let's look at this together. What is the pro on this? What is the pro on this, and what is the cons on this? Anybody? Is there anybody? Fatima, let me call names. What do you think? Okay, let's take one. What do you think is the pro of this, or the pros of this? What do you think is the advantage of this flow? That's what it means. The pro and cons, advantage and disadvantage. Let me use that simple word. Fatima.
Sir, I'm still trying to find the pro and the con. I'm not done looking
Oh, you're not
at it,
done.
but it seems like it is straightforward. Looks straightforward to me, as
Okay.
all the steps look like they are straightforward, and the user can easily go through the process without any problem.
All right. Thank you. That's true. All right, Zina.
One of the pros I can see here is that the user can actually select more than one picture, can select multiple pictures, and can also tag those multiple pictures individually. That will actually save time, and I think that's all.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anybody else? All right, let's proceed. So this is our pros. So we have that it has a familiar UX pattern. Remember that users, when they open the chat, they click on attachment, then they send it. It is familiar. Everybody knows that process is as simple as it is. And it supports rich interactions with just one or two taps. So you can actually get what you can actually achieve your said goals with one or two taps. And then, as Zinab has said, multiple types of media. So you can select multiple types, or it has multiple types like gallery and the rest. And you can also select multiple items when you choose your media type. Now we also have the cons. So the cons is a user can accidentally send without confirmation. I can actually send it without confirmation. There was nothing like, oh, do you want to send the app, the media discard or whatever. There was no confirmation. So accessibility concern is if preview interface is not voice or screen reader friendly. So those are the cons and the pros. So let's look at the example number 2. So example number 2 says design a smooth, intrusive flow for users to create a new group and start chatting quickly. The goal is to create a new group and start chatting quickly. So what are the pros and the cons on this? Let's take a few minutes on it, a few seconds. Let's look at it. From the home, user clicks on new chat, add participants. So enter group details and then tap create, and then the user can also start conversation. So what is the pro and what is the cons here? Anybody? Let's see who is following. User clicks on new chat and chooses new groups. Users can search or scroll for contacts and can also multi-select contacts to add. User can impute group name, can add group pictures. Well, that is optional. And users can create the group by selecting create group button. Users can type something to get the conversation started. Okay, so who is telling me the pros here? All right.
Sir,
Okay, go ahead,
okay.
Fatima.
There's just one pro that I can find for now, where you are to add participants. Under it, you have multi-select contact. I think that's a pro because you won't have to be adding the contacts one by one, and that will save you time. That's it.
Okay, that's a good one. Thank you. All right, Gifts, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, but
And
you're breaking,
also,
right?
on the end, okay, can you hear me now?
Go
Can
ahead.
you hear me? All right, I said on the add participant, so error can also occur there because it can mistakenly add maybe as you're choosing multiple participants, you can add people you don't want to add on the group chat. And again, when you want to start your conversation, said here you can quickly start the conversation maybe by typing a message. You can type a message, maybe what you don't want to type, mistakenly you just send it to the group and everybody there is seeing what you're typing before you can quickly delete it. So these are what I observed.
Okay, so those are your cons then. All right, thank you. David, go ahead.
All right, so I noticed a con in that once you have added like participants, you could have added another participant by mistake, but there's no option to like remove that participant before creating the group. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes. So there is nothing like, okay, see users that you've added or participants that you've added.
Yes. So you can remove, probably you added a participant by mistake.
Yeah, that's true. All right, thank you. I saw another hand. Or is that all? Okay, we are good to go with that. So let's look at method. Go ahead.
We might need to add a group description.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is that a pro or that's a con? You said group description. Is that a
That's
pro?
a con. That's a con. Group details.
Oh, group details.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right, but remember that under my group details that I have.
I think I have a.
I can hear you. Okay. So let me reply to you, Method, before Mr. Yemi. I look at yours. So Method, remember that under it we say user can impute group name. There is no how you are going to create a group. Remember that, well, you want to create a new group. Definitely you need a name for a group. There was a reason you want to create the group. So definitely you need a name for it. That is standard. That is compulsory. But so that users will not be overwhelmed. So that's where we now made it that to add group pictures is actually optional. To add group picture is optional. So that is why it is optional there. So that, by the time I want to create this group, I did not make it ready. Like I was not ready. It was an urgent stuff. So that I don't just go to my gallery, pick random image and then put it there. That is why we made the group picture optional. All right, Mr. Yemi, you said easy flow for user convenience and cons. You can only add people in your contact list. Well, that's true. That's true. Multi-select contacts. It was only contact, and contacts can only be things or numbers that you've saved. All right, thank you, Mr. Yemi. All right, Mohammed, over to you. You have something to say.
All right, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
I observed something from the user flow. I feel the create group is supposed to come before the details, then be followed by add participants, then before chatting with the participants. That's my own observation.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Now let's go back. Let's go back a bit. Let me see. Where was that? Where did we talk about? Anyways, let me just say the way it is. Users, there is no one way of achieving a particular goal. There is no one way of achieving a goal. As a designer, I can choose to approach a product or to solve a problem using one flow, and another designer might also decide to solve that same problem using another flow. So, well, I understand with you too. That's another way we would have approached this design. But this is what we are working with, and this is the flow we are working with. So that is a very good one. Well, that you have to tap on crates, then yes, well, that is you. But looking at this flow now, there are things that we have removed based on maybe we are not taking it um the way it's supposed to be step by step. So that could be another view. Okay. Okay. Carl, you said pro users can create group by selecting group group option. That makes it easy for user and retain the user till he or she achieve their goal. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. So let's look at what I caught as my pros and cons. So you can see that it has a familiar flow. User can relate from apps like WhatsApp and Telegram. So it uses that same flow and it has a step-by-step progression. And smart default state and optional extras don't overwhelm the users. So that is our pros. And our cons says multi-step process may be too much for quick group creation. So while trying to add plenty people, like you might, I just want to create this group and then proceed to another thing. Or then also users might skip personalization. That's where we have the adding of name and the photo. And now it will reduce the group clarity. Persons will not understand what the group is for, and well, will tend to be confused and then will exit the group. So that is it. So now let's look at ideation. I hope we are still following. So let's look at ideation. So we says for ideation tips. So this is idea. How do you achieve this? How do you go through it? So use goal-based metrics. For every variation, clearly list what works well and what might create friction. And also analyze the trade-off based on usability, clarity, and tax efficiency. Also apply heuristic contextually. Now use UX heuristics like recognition over recall, consistency and standard, user control and freedom as a guide to shape each variation, and also ensure each decision considers the specific user scenario and platform constraints. Don't just design because you want to design. Think of the scenario. I want to do this. That's what the user wants to do. Don't go outside of it. Now, document pros and cons of each flow. Identify the primary goals. Example, user retention, quick task completion, ease of onboarding, and use relevant metrics. Example, number of steps, time on tasks, error rates, to iterate multiple workflow variations that aligned with that goal. Also, lastly, select the best fit based on context. Select the best fit based on context. Choose the most appropriate workflow. Mohammed said something. You can have 2 or 3 different workflow. Then choose the one you feel users will be conversant with, users will be used to, and the one users are used to. Don't bring up new design. Don't bring up new flow. If you will confuse your users and they'll end up leaving the product. Choose the most appropriate workflow by aligning it with users' needs, product goals, and practical feasibility. It has to be practical enough. Okay? So now let's look at our next topic, what we have here. Problem statement. So we've been hearing of problem statement. What is this problem statement? What is this problem statement? So let's look at a scenario. Imagine you are going on a road trip, but you don't know where you are starting from. That's exactly what designing without a problem statement feels like. So the problem statement will give you focus, it will give you clarity, it will give you direction. Without it, you are just designing random pretty screens that might never solve real issues. So now let's look at what is this problem statement. So we say here that problem statement summarizes the core user problem that a UX designer needs to understand and solve. So it's clearly define the user needs, pain points, and challenges within the specific context. So here it summarizes what user problem we are solving. That's just the summary of it. It summarizes what user problems we are solving. So we should be asking questions like, who is experiencing this problem? What the problem is, when and where it occurred, why it's important to solve. So it should be like, who is struggling? What are they struggling with? And where and when it happened? And why does it matter? So think of it like your compass that keeps you focused and solving real users' problem, not made up ones. So let's look at say a problem statement is the compass that keeps UX design focused on solving the right user problems. Okay. Now let's look at problem statement examples. Let's look at examples of it. So we have a problem statement for a fitness tracking app. The problem statement states that many users of our fitness tracking app struggle to sign their wearable devices due to inconsistent compatibility with various brands. This causes inaccurate tracking of their workouts and discourages them from continuously using the app. As a result, customer satisfaction is dropping and conversion rates are increasing, affecting our subscription revenue. So this is an example of a problem statement. This is a problem statement for a fitness tracking app. Now let's look at also another example of a problem statement, an online learning platform. Students using our learning platform often find it hard or find it difficult to track their learning progress due to the absence of visual indicators like progress bar or course completion percentages. So this leads to confusions and demotivation, especially in long courses. So instructors have reported lower engagement levels, and some students are not completing their courses, which impacts platform credibility and renewals. So this is a problem statement example. So let's another example that I drafted was for a meal delivery service. So it said customers of our meal delivery service frequently complain about receiving cold food, especially during peak hours. So this is due to lack of real-time drivers tracking and route optimization. These complaints are leading to negative reviews and refund requests, which not only affect customer loyalty, but also increases operational cost. If we look at this problem statement, all the problem statements we've stated, all of them have stated who is struggling. When we are looking at, let's take example, the meal delivery service. Who are struggling? The customers are struggling. What are they struggling with? They are struggling with receiving cold food, especially during peak hours. And where and when does it happen? It happens during the peak hours, and this is due to the lack of real-time drivers tracking and route optimization. So the other one, we said, why does it matter? Why should we solve this problem? Why we should solve it is that it affects our customer loyalty and also increases operational costs. So remember that looking at these meal services, when trying to order food, and they imagine you trying to order a food and then the delivery guy just called you after he left. So that's a UX problem, and the app did not notify you on time, so you miss the delivery, and also you'll be frustrated, and that is a bad experience. That is a bad experience. So let's look at this. When are we supposed to write a problem statement? A client gives you a project, you now say, oh, look at the project, this is what I want you to work on. So when are we to write problem statements after we might have gone through research, after we might have started iterating, after we might have started prototyping and the rest? When are we supposed to write a problem statement? So problem statements are typically written at the start of a design or product development process. So this is when you need to clearly define what issue you are trying to solve. Remember when we say you can't solve a problem that you don't know. There is no how you are going to solve a problem you don't understand or a problem you don't know. So this, why, when writing a problem statement, why do we need it, or is it necessary? Is it necessary? So we need this because it is going to help align the team, and it is also going to help guide decisions making, and also ensure the final solution addresses a real user need. So we also need everyone on the team, the PMs, the developers, the designers, stakeholders, to solve the same problem, not 7-10 different problems or different ones. So we need them to solve that same problem. So that's why we need a problem statement. So whether you are building a new feature, redesigning an experience, or prioritizing a product backlog, a well-defined problem statement is essential to building the right thing. So you need a problem statement. This is actually telling us why we need it again. So how to write this problem statement? How do we write a problem statement? So we have the first step to be identify who is affected. Identify who is affected. So start by pinpointing the group or personnel experiencing the problem. So you must know who you are designing for. So it could be new users, it could be returning users, it could be students, it could be busy professionals, it could be customer support agents, it could be people with disabilities, it could be people using mobile, and people using desktop. So always consider primary users. Are they new users? Are they returning customers? Are they students, professionals? Secondary, are they internal stakeholders, or are the internal stakeholders affected? Are the customer service agents affected? Or in edge cases, are there users with unique needs, like accessibility concern? We could talk of the blind, we could talk of those that can't see color, that has color blindness. So these are things we need. So let's look at a pro tip. Use user research data, interviews, or survey to back up your assumptions. Avoid vague terms like everyone or all users. So this is where you need to be specific. Don't just make an assumption, oh, that this is what all users want. Oh, returning students, they want to create new accounts. They don't want to use their old email again, and so on and so forth. All right, let's look at the step number 2. Step number 2, define the problem clearly. Be specific and also avoid vouch language. So this is where you describe the core issue users are experiencing. Ask questions like, what is going wrong? What task or goals is being blocked? Is it a usability issue, a workflow disruption, or a misleading features? So a questions could come up like, the app is confusing, and so users struggle to locate the save button during multi-step forms. So this could be a a a a step, or we are saying be specific. So when you are writing your problem statements, don't just say the app is hard to use, but you can say users struggle to locate the save button. Be specific. The app is hard to use. Well, in what cases? Is the app hard to use by opening it from your phone? Oh, you can't unlock your phone to get to the app, or when you are trying to click on the app is running. Oh, the users, the developers, they navigate, they designed and animated the app such that when it senses your hand coming, it will now run. Be specific. What are you trying to say? What is the problem? So the problem is users struggle to locate the save button while filling out a multi-step form. So the save button could be maybe at the top side, and then they have filled the button, the form down, 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 down. So now they have to scroll all the way up to now get the save button to actually save the form, or the button is towards the end, and then that they don't want to actually continue with the process. They want to save as draft and then continue the next time. What is actually the problem? So when writing a problem statement, define the problem clearly. Be specific about the problem you are trying to solve. Ask the questions like, what is wrong, what goal is being blocked, and misleading. Remember, we stated that before. So your number 3 step is describe when and where it happens. Describe when and where it happens. So this is where context is crucial. Context is crucial in UX. So ask questions like, does the problem occur during sign up, or is it only on mobile? And questions like, is it during a specific time? That could be maybe during the night due to poor lighting design. And so this scenario is going to help you in your user flow and in your test cases. So problems often hide in specific moments. So this is why you need context, because problem hides in specific moments. It could be maybe when a user is trying to log in, and I can remember a time when I tried to fill a form. I was trying to register. So, and while trying to fill in my phone number, I noticed when I stop at the 10th number, that's where it stops. Like, it does not actually accept the 11th number. That was like, what is happening? It was not until I noticed that they only designed it to accept US number. US number is 10 and Nigerian number is 11. So that is a problem. You can't just make an input field or such functionality for a specific user for a specific geographical area. This is when you need context. So you try to, and while trying to do this, what were the experiences? What were the problems? Why trying to use the app or the product? So your fourth step should be explain the impact. So explain why this problem matters. So what negative consequences are users experiencing? Are they abandoning their products, or is there a loss in business revenue or customer trust? So think in terms of user frustration, loss of engagement, reduced productivity, errors or delay, negative brand perception. So this could be because users can't save midways, and then if you use a matrix to see maybe 40%, 35% of them have abandoned the form. Why? Because they can't save midway. They can't save it as drafts and then move on and proceed with the next thing they want to do. Now, okay, so users can't save their progress midway and abandon. So this is why we need to explain the impact of it. Now let's look at this. So why writing this problem statement? Do you need help? Are you still confused at the same? So this is a very simple way, a very simple framework to use. The 6 W's. What are these 6 W's? So the 6 W's are: who is impacted by the problem? So these are your target users or personnel. So what is the problem they are facing? Where does the problem occur? When does it happen? Why does it happen? And why does it matter? So these are things that matters. So when trying to write a problem statement, these are the 6 W's frameworks that has to be there. Or we can also call it a cheat card. So this is a cheat card for you. So let's look at formatting problem statements. So once you have done your research and used the 6 W's, draft your problem statement. So look at, I have a template here on how the problem statement could be. Now we have a user group. This user group is experiencing this problem. When they are trying to do this, which causes this particular stuff, and which will affect the company, will affect the users, and will affect the product. So example, I have here that a first-time user, remember the user group. So the user group is our first-time user of a budgeting app experiences confusion. So what is the problem? The problem is he experiences confusion. So when linking their bank accounts during setup, which causes what? Leading to delayed onboarding and a drop-off rate at 42%. So notice that this example is specific. It's telling you exactly what is happening. It includes real context, and it also outlines the consequences. It's telling you that there's a drop-off rate of 42%. There is no product owner, or there is no client that will actually want that after he might have spent so much money on a particular product, that after users might have loved it, but in the process of them trying to use the product, they feel like there is a delay, or they feel confusion, or there is a particular type of experience that they are experiencing that is bad, and they need to drop off to about 42%. That client will not be happy. So why trying to solve? You see, it has outlined the consequences of the fact that users were not able to link their bank account while trying to set up their banking app or their budgeting experience app. So you can look at the example also that it avoids suggesting a solution that comes later. There was no suggestion. It did not suggest. Already looking at this, you know what the problem is going to be, or what's the solution it's supposed to be. Now let's practice this together. I have been the one telling you all this. I've been the one narrating the story. So now let's look at a scenario. We are to write a clear problem statement on that a food delivery app received complaint that users often miss their deliveries. So what are the deliverables of this scenario? So identify who is affected, who the affected users are. Identify what the specific issue is. So, well, in this, you have to use the 6 W's, and also you have to state clearly the problem statement. So let's see, who can give me a good problem statement on this scenario? On this scenario, who can try give me a good problem statement? Let me give you some moments. If you most at any class, come with books. You should be writing, not everything that I'm saying that are on the slide. So you are supposed to have a book with you by the side to be writing things down, so that so let's see, who can give me a good problem statement using this scenario? Is there anybody? Mr. Yemi, please, we want to hear from you. Please, you can unmute. Don't use the chat again. Let's hear from you. Theophilus, get ready to. After Theophilus, I will want let me look for people who have not heard their voices today. All right, Chidera, I've not heard your voice today. IGBK, I've not heard your voice today. Then also, I think, have I heard from you and Bubola? Have I? All right, Mr. Yemi, please go ahead. What do you think? Or in your own, let's see the problem statement you can come up with this scenario. That a food delivery app receives complaints that users often miss their deliveries. You remember the 6 W's: who, what, where, when, why, and also, well, why is it happening, and also why does it matter? So who is it affected? Who is affected? What is going wrong? And where does it happen? Let me see if I can get access to that. Okay, so who is impacted by the problem? What is the problem they are facing? Where does the problem occur? When does it happen? Why does it happen? And why does it matter? Why do I actually have to, why do I need to actually solve this problem? So let's look at it again. A food delivery. So Mr. Yemi, please go ahead. Or
Sorry, please. I'm still in transit right now. I can't I can't pen down my thoughts right now. I'll just have to watch later. I'm just trying to follow as best as I can.
Okay, all right. Okay. I hope nobody else is on transit too. Let's see. Okay, Chugo Kalu, let me hear from you. You used the chat the other time. So what problem statement can you get from this? Oops. Kechuku is not answering. Tio, you just joined, so I doubt if you. So let me give it. I'm Chidera. I said you're going. I did not have not heard from you today. So let's see. Mohammed, you want to say something?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. Chidera, please prepare. You still have to say something. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Okay. Um, I what I did here is stating the problem statement. So this is my problem statement. Chidera, who is a busy product designer, often orders food from the restaurant but receives the food late due to late delivery. So from here, busy product designer and late delivery and order. I think they are the problem. They are part of okay. Busy product designer, that's Chidera, is the affected user. Then the specific issue here is the late delivery of the food. It can be maybe probably from the checkout, maybe there's no real-time information from their app. It could be part of the problem too. So I just say I should give it a try. Yeah, I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah. Thank you, Mohammed. That was a good try. That's a good try. Um, if we're in class now, in fact, everybody go to your reaction. You are going to see a applause button icon there. Clap for Mohammed. Let's clap. That was a good one. Thank you, David. David has clapped for you. Vera has done so. Everybody, thank you very much. So, Mohammed, that was a good one too. So, can I have one person to try again before I now give you my own? Is there any person that can try? All right, Zinab, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to leverage on what he has said and just add some other things to it. Okay, so you can still go on with saying that Chidera, who is a busy product designer, often order food around peak time, which is around 2 p.m., but he doesn't get his food on time due to lack of good tracking system on the app. And this has affected, yeah, this has stopped him from using the app subsequently. I don't know. I think I
Okay,
tried.
thank you, Zinab. All right, let's clap for her too. Let's clap for her. All right, thank you. So let's look at it. Let's look at it from my own standpoint. So I said frequent users of food delivery. Frequent user. There was no specific user here. Okay. Let me pause for a while. Okay. Mr. Yemi says app users miss their deliverables due to a problem in connecting with the delivery personnel, either through the inefficiency of the delivery personnel or the fact that there's no or there is no delivery tracking pathway made available in the app. So this has caused 40% drop in user retention and business loss. Okay, thank you, Mr. Yemi. That's a good one. It has track the who, the what, the where, when, and why, and also why it's happening and why it doesn't matter. So thank you very much, Mr. Yemi. So let's look at this. Said frequent users of the food delivery app often miss their delivery because they receive arrival notifications too late or not at all. So the notifications does not come, especially when drivers arrive earlier than the estimated delivery time. So this results in failed deliveries, wasted food, and customers dissatisfaction. So So what have we seen here? So they have us problem with miss deliveries. And so the app should have a features where drivers call users before arriving. So this is what this is telling us. So anytime we are designing or we are writing a problem statement, avoid jumping to solutions, because problem statement comes before solution. So if you write a solution into your problem statement, you close your creative brain too early. So that's why you did not see me write solutions here telling you, oh, this is what you are supposed to do. This is how this is supposed to be. Do not write a solution in a problem statement. That is one thing you need to note. Don't write solutions in problem statements. It's a problem statement. So most times, why when doing for those of us that have done what we call case study, you've done case study of an application or a product you've worked on, you always see where a problem statement has to always go on your case study, because you have to tell we users that are actually looking at your case study, what problem were you trying to solve before you start to embark on this product, and what did the clients tell you, or what challenges did you see. So while writing that problem statement, don't include a solution in the problem statement. So yeah, don't say that the app has problem with missed deliveries. Don't also say that we should include a feature so that drivers should call. How would drivers even use that feature? So because if before going for delivery, there's always a number written on the package, so why don't they still call? So you've seen me, if I have written that solution down to actually use the solution, that's what I will be working with. So, but in this case, when doing a problem statement, don't write a solution. Now, problem sample 2, I said a food delivery app users sometimes miss their order because they are not notified properly when drivers arrive, causing frustration and needs to reorder. Sample 3, the food delivery app has a problem with missed deliveries. So what happened? Sample 4, the app should have features where drivers should call before arriving. I did not ask for that. So it is not a problem. It is not a solution statement. It is a problem statement. It is not an assumption statement. It's a problem statement. So sample number 1 is the most what I've taken the lead. So all right, let's look at recap and closing. So UX workflow leads helps you think like the user, not like the designer. You are designing screens. You are not designing screens, you are designing joinings. Okay? It is not only screens you are designing, you are also designing joining. All right, UX problem solving is detective work plus creativity plus empathy. So you are not just designing screens, you've said this, but you are designing solutions to real human frustrations. Also, a well-written problem statement should keep the user at the center of the design process. So when you design for real frustration, not your own assumption. So keep the users at the center of your design process. Yeah, your problem statement should give direction to your research, ideation, and testing. So you know exactly what to. This will help you know exactly what to research, what to ideate, and what to prototype and test. Also align this team and stakeholders. Everyone is solving the same problem, not building random features. So your problem statement is helping align the team and the stakeholders with what the product is all about, and serve as a reference point throughout the project. So I would say serve as or become your North Star. So if you ever get lost, you always revisit and stay focused. Okay, so before jumping to wireframes or UI design, always come back and ask yourself, am I solving the real problem? Am I solving the real problem? All right, so we have come to the end of today's class. We have come to the end of today's class. But first, let's see. Let me show you a template that can be used for this. Please tell me when you see my next screen. You can see my Fig Jam screen.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
So this is the format. I think I will not drop it. So look at it how it is. Should I include this on the resources link for you? No.
Yes, please. Yes.
No. Let's you come up with a problem statement structure is not only one. You can put it however you want to. You can write it how you can structure it the way you want. So maybe what I will do is I will add it to the resources listing, but I will restrict you from using it. But anyways, okay. My mind have been changed. So I'm going to give you access to this. So you make a copy. So I might give a task that you need to do this. So you use this. So this is going to help you be consistent in and also help your brain. Because when you are used to a particular system, you are used to it. So this is how I arranged my problem statements to be. So the first one we have who. So I can talk about two users here. So from the problem statement here, I said remote employee who work from home. So that is who I'm trying the problem statement is referring to. And what is happening? So difficult staying productive due to distractions. So remote, like we techies, we always get distracted while working. So this is what is happening to us and when. So well, especially during peak working hours. Where? Well, in home office environment. And why does it matter? It matters because low productivity impacts project timelines. And when does this happen? Why does this happen? Because we lack structured routine. So we are not following a particular routine. We are doing things based on when we want to do it. But if there is a routine, well, it will help us. So we have problem components. So background, this is where you talk about the remote, the problem statement. So remote workers working from home often struggle with maintaining productivity, especially during working hours. Distractions from digital platform, household tasks, and personal obligations make it challenging to stay focused. And then we have people affected, remote, and then impact. Well, this is the low productivity. And then this is where we have the main program problem statement. So we said, well, I just read the problem statements before. Remote employee working from home often experiences productivity challenges, particularly during peak hours due to digital. These issues affect both remote workers who face stress, risks of burnout, and their managers who rely on consistent productivity to meet project deadlines. If not addressed, this productivity may lead to delayed projects, higher overturns, and decline in team morale. So this is an example, or this is a template of how your problem statement can look like using using FigJam. All right, that's I said we have come to the end of this class. So you can ask your question here. I have a question, please. You can carry your hand up, or if no question, then we can call it a night. All right, Mr. Yemi, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. Yeah, thank you so much for today's teaching. So once I have an opportunity, I would try to uh, go over everything again. But I think I caught most of what was taught today. But considering last class and this class, you know, I see that we are more focused on the user, and this has, especially when we did the UX strategy and today now, there was a lot of talking, a lot of strategizing, a lot of planning, a lot of writing. Now, if before I do one design, I have to go into user vision, UX planning, UX goals. Now I have to do problem statement, drafting, and all these things. Like in a real life practical setting now, if I want to solve something now, I don't know, can you walk us through how all these things just come into place? We have to go through all these things one by one, step by step. I have to write down the user vision. I have to write down sometimes, once you see the problem, the tendency is to quickly want to just draft something and then begin to design. But it's seeming like we have to do all this, and then I'm thinking this can take days, So, but can you walk us through a practical scenario? Like, what do I do, once a problem has come to me, do I begin by drafting a user vision, UX vision, UX strategy, as in how do we do it such that we achieve what we want in the shortest amount of time? That's the question number one. Question number two is that this thing is, as I can see, user focused. And because of that, one question that has been in my mind, I am someone that likes originality, especially in design. It's part of the things that drew me to design is because there are things I want to see. So are we saying that at the end of the day, because one of the things I saw when you were showing the slides was that you also have to consider that you can't be, obviously you have to be very creative, but your creativity should not be too original to the extent that the users, get confused and cannot flow with you. So, how do you balance original designs and then not losing your users, doing their workflow, or let me say, user flow, ease of user flow when they are using your designs? Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Let me answer the first one in brief. So when giving most designers, what they do after giving a project to work on, we just jump into Figma. We just jump into it. We go into Pinterest and the rest of the Behance and the rest of it to look for mode boards, and then we jump into design. It is a wrong practice. It is expected that you sit down, look at what this project that has been given to me, what is expected of me. There is let me use myself as an example. There's a project I was working with. Now we designed almost about three to four flows. It is a workout application. The workout is not yet live, so I can't tell you how it is. So still working on it now. So what happened is, after we might have like gotten the flow of how it's supposed to work, now we now got a message from the client. Oh, this is how I actually want it to be. And when we look at the design standpoint, we have designed a lot of screens. The developer has developed over 60% of 60%, that is an understatement, 80% of the design has been that is already on ground. He has already developed them. So now, because we lacked this particular, I did not do problem statement, I did not strategize, I did not go into, what does this client actually want, what is the UX goals, what does the client want? Because basically it was all about the UX. the UI was good to go, but when it comes to the UX, it was not what the client want. So this happened because I did not look at this part of the technicality of, oh, I need to strategize first. I need to write a problem statement. I need to look at who is involved. I need to look at, oh, what does my client actually want me to achieve in this, or what does he really want the users to do? What is the end product of the application? At first we thought it was just a normal application, workout application that we use. Oh yes, you open the app, you see things, then you now look at what they do and then copy. It was a different plan that the client actually wants. So in real life situation, go through the step. Look at, oh, what is the problem? Write out the problem statement. As I said earlier, when do you write out problem statement? It is when you want to start a project. Write out, take your time. If not, you are going to waste resources and a lot of, remember, like, think of how much time I have imputed into designing these screens. How, like how many flow, a particular flow can carry over 20 screens. So I've invested time, I've invested resources into it. So if we don't follow the steps, we are going to miss out. So it is necessary we follow the steps, write out the plan, follow your design thinking approach, which we have to go to research. You have to go into defining UX. You have to go into iterate. You have to go into prototyping, wireframings, and the rest. You have to test. You have to go back, iterate, and then do the same thing over and over again. So it is the best practice. It is what is used in the real life scenario. I hope that answers your first question, Mr. Yemi.
Very well, you did.
All right. So on the second part, when it comes to originality, as I said earlier, I on our previous class, I said that one of my mentors said nothing is new in this. So remember when we were talking about we were talking about a scenario where a user needs to actually create a group. Now think of it. You now sat down and then you are like, oh, so what if users should, when once they open the app, I should be able to see a pop-up that should tell me create group. So the application should be able to know, oh, this user wants to come and wants to create a group when it comes to the, so it will now it will now tell you, oh, create a group. So there's a flow to it. The flow is that, oh, you want to create a group, there has to be persons you need to add, there has to be a flow you need to take. So that's when we are talking about a familiar UI or UX. So users are familiar with this pattern, so adopt it. Don't come and then say, oh, thinking outside the box. The box will swallow you. The box will swallow you. Users will run away from the app, because if I am not used to a particular flow and I'm trying to adapt to the new, I'll be like, oh, no, let me go back to the previous product I was using, because, oh, well, I understood the product well. It is what is actually in line with user experiences. So that's what I talk about. When it comes to originality, well, you can use it's original because, well, as anybody designed that application you are designing, no. So there is an originality because it is actually your brand. It is your color spec and the rest of it. It is your fonts, your arrangements and the rest. But when it comes to the flow, that is where you have to be sure that you are using what users are aware of, not thinking outside the box. So if I want to create group, I'll have to shake the phone. How will users know they have to shake the phone? So if the user does not have hand call to use, is using voice recognition, how does he? So that's the experience we are talking about. All right, Mr. Yemi, have I answered your question?
Yeah, so that means there are standard flows generally when it comes to UX. And that may also mean that we may have to research when it comes to whatever maybe problem we want to solve, or as it comes to whatever flows already exist in the
Yes.
maybe. Okay.
Yes, there is a pattern. There is an existing pattern. So users are used to it already. Don't introduce new things for users. They will run. So there are patterns. So that's why research is important. Before you jump into it, do a lot of research. All right.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Zinab, I've seen your hand.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. My question is that all these problem statements is looking at it is basically for an existing app. What if you want to create a new app and you need to make problem statement for each flows, or you just get one problem statement for just the main app and that is
No,
you
the
are creating a new app?
problem
I don't
statement.
know how to go.
No, I get your question. All right. So problem statements, you state a problem for the product, not a flow. So in a you can't, because in a product, when we are talking about it's basically a flow and a product, because when we're talking about a product, it incorporates other flows like profile, like home page and the rest of it. You will not come and be saying, oh, users will want to when they do this, they want to click on profile, they want to see. Well, if you are actually treating that part of a flu, yes, a problem, then well, yes, you can include it. But when writing a problem statement, you don't write problem statement number one, problem statement number two. It is one problem statement that solves the whole issue. So it is not as flow wise, or you write a flow one, flow two, user wants to. If you are doing that, is basically for your own use, like you want to be you want to make clarity for yourself as a designer. So that's why we have user flow. So that's a user flow. So you put it, oh, for this user flow, this is how I want users to navigate for this. But when it comes to problem statement is you stating clearly what the aim and objective of the users are. All right. Does that answer your question, Zina?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. I think that's all for today, right? Any other question? If not, then we call it a day. We are at exact time we have to close for today. So, okay, I saw a question here. Sorry. Where is the chat? Um, uh, okay, someone was asking about the tax. Who was that? I think I can't see that message again, but I saw it. All right. So please make sure you do your tax, submit it during on the speculated time and the rest. Okay, Ambiwala. All right. Okay, so let's call it a night then. So thank you very much for for attending today's class, and looking forward to seeing you on our next class on Friday by 3 p.m. West African time. So do have a good night rest.